right, people, if you're a business owner who feels tired, foggy, you've got brain fog, you're bloated, and you want to restore and optimize your health so you can scale your business a lot better and just enjoy life, cut out the fat, lower the stress, have more energy, look better, then this video is for you. I've been running this business for about 3 years and I've been helping 6 and 7 figure entrepreneurs restore and optimize their health using science-backed systems, real data, and a personalized plan that's built around their busy schedule. That way they can actually stick to it in the long term. Now, most people, when they want to feel better or optimize their health, they usually go to a doctor or they go to a fitness coach. Now, a fitness coach generally will just give you a diet plan and a training plan, and they won't look at things like your gut health, like your sleep, like your stress management, like actually take a look at your hormones as well. And doctors will generally just tell you that you're fine because your markers are within a normal range, or they'll just give you medication to treat the symptom. My approach is actually treating the root cause and restoring health from inside out, because that's what it truly takes. And I'm going to explain to you guys exactly why that is and the 6-step process I take my clients through. I'm literally giving away all of the sauce, right? So let's get straight into it. I myself have been through a big journey of health. I grew up with hypothyroidism, ADHD, broken sleep, poor gut health, and I was always struggling to focus and feel good and gain muscle, and I was always like this skinny fat guy. Over here, this is me in the gym for 2 years, and I look like shit. And this is me on the right when I actually restored and optimized my health from the inside out, focusing on health and the things that actually matter that your fitness coach and doctors won't actually talk about. And this system is what I use till this day to actually feel good, enjoy life, and scale my business. I still get the work done, and I don't burn out as often as I used to. Now, when most people want to optimize their health, besides going to a doctor or a fitness coach, they'll often just follow random trends online. They'll buy a supplement, or they'll do this, or they'll jump into an ice bath, or jump into a sauna, when they haven't actually done any real testing or looked at what's actually going on inside their body and used real data. But not only that, they do something, they try, they get some benefits, even if it actually worked, and then they don't stick to it because it's not sustainable. It's not built around their busy schedule, which is exactly what I do. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. Now we're going to start with this pyramid. So level 1 is where you're going to start off from, and it's the strongest, most important part of this whole process, because if you don't transform your identity, you're always going to go back to your old habits, right? You need to stop telling yourself things like you're going to fix your health later, or it's not that important, or I'll sleep when I'm dead, or I'll just take a supplement, or whatever. You need to actually adopt the identity of a business owner who actually takes care of their health. Because if you maintain the same attitude and thought process, that's going to lead to the same actions. Now, we're going to dive into that a little bit later, but this is the most important part here, which is why I have it visually as a pyramid. Because when you don't have this, everything else will crumble and nothing else really will matter, and you won't actually get to the next level. So level 2 is system implementation. This is when you actually build health into your life, and it's not just left to chance. Now after this, in level 3 is when your biology starts to get optimized. That's when your sleep improves, your hormones improve, your gut health improves, your stress gets lowered, your metabolism starts working properly, you start feeling better, your hormones start improving, your testosterone goes up, your cortisol goes down, your sleep metrics start improving. This is when you start to feel a little bit better. Now level 4 is when you start really seeing and feeling the results very clearly. Okay, so that's when you start thinking clearly, you've got more energy, you've built muscle, you've lost the fat, and you can actually make better decisions and think properly in life in general. Now level 5 is when you just feel in control of your body and you have so much more confidence with everything in general, because you can take care of your health, you have more energy, and you don't have to rely on caffeine or nicotine like most business owners do when they are compensating for not having their biology optimized. Okay, what we want to do here is stop becoming a person who doesn't see themselves as healthy or doesn't prioritize health, right? You need to start seeing yourself as a person who is healthy. In the same way you became wealthy, if you're making a lot of money with your business, you probably have to kill an old identity in order to be someone who can, make money and provide value out there. We need to do the same thing when it comes to your health. You need to become someone who values their health, they protect their recovery, and they don't sacrifice their longevity just to make more money and build their business, okay? Because your actions follow your identity. I'm sure you already understand how the subconscious mind works, but in summary, the way you see yourself will dictate your actions, okay? Now, the first step is to audit your mindset and attitude towards your health. So start being a little bit more aware as to how you think about things when it comes to your sleep, your training, your diet, when it comes to testing and supplements and that kind of thing. Just start taking note of it, okay? Number 2 is you want to identify where you're operating like a burnt out CEO, okay? Someone who just runs on caffeine or nicotine, and you sleep 6 hours per night, and maybe you still exercise, but that's actually just causing you more stress. So just identify where you're operating like this kind of person, like a burnt out CEO, When you imagine a burnt out CEO, how does that person act and think? So identify how you're acting like that person, how you're thinking like that person. Now, the third one is you want to define your healthy CEO identity. And I want you to literally write this down. What does that person look like? Not only physically with your physical health, that could be, your muscle and body fat ratio. That could be your skin, your hair quality. And it's not just that, it's your thoughts and your actions. Do you prioritize your sleep? Do you plan accordingly so you can actually go to the gym and get your meals in? Do you think about health as something that's important long term, but also in the short term? Okay. Now, the fourth one is remove language like I'll fix it later, or I'll sleep when I'm dead, or I'll just skip a meal now, or I don't need to do real testing to figure out what's going on. I'll just drink more coffee. Remove stupid language like that because it's not going to serve you, okay? The fifth one is to commit to new thoughts that reinforce this identity. So now that you've audited your mindset, you identify where you're operating like a burnt out CEO, you've defined your new identity, and you're starting to remove the language, you need to just commit to those thoughts for about at least 30 days. And you need to trust the process. And eventually, it will just become automatic. Some examples right here. I'm someone who protects my energy like my income depends on it, because it does. I prioritize my sleep even when I feel too busy. I don't skip meals or rely on caffeine. I block time for recovery. I design my environment to make better decisions for my health. These things are important. It sounds corny, it sounds weird, like it doesn't work, it's really woo-woo, but it definitely works. It's gonna rewire your subconscious brain, rewire your self-image, and then before you know it, you just think you're a healthy person, so you just start taking the right actions, okay? Again, this is super, super important because everything else we're going to cover now will crumble if you don't do this, if you don't stick to this, okay? And what will happen is you'll start automatically making the right decision because your subconscious brain is now getting rewired, okay? Now, let's go to step 2, which is testing and quick wins. So what we want to do is order the testing to get real data, okay? And then at the same time, we want to fix the obvious problems and gain some, get some low-hanging fruit, some quick wins, okay? So this might sound a little bit complicated, just bear with me. It's gonna look a little bit crazy right now. This is probably the most complicated part of it all, okay? Just slow down, relax, and breathe, okay? I'm gonna walk you through it. And to be healthy, obviously we want to be in a healthy weight. We want to be below 15% body fat, okay? But you want to basically weigh yourself, take a photo, and understand where you are on this sort of graph right here. So you want to be around 15%. If you're looking like this or above, then you most likely need to cut. If you're skinny, if you're very lean but have pretty much no muscle on you, you look like a bit of a twig, then you need to go on a bulk. The whole point of this right here is to assess if we want to bulk or cut, okay, or maintain. If you're already in good shape, then we can maintain, which is quite rare, okay, because we need your metabolism and your hormones working properly, okay. It's not just all about optimizing sleep and gut health. We need to get you to a healthy weight, okay. Now, a DEXA scan is optional. It's a bit fancy, it costs a few $100s, but it's going to give you super accurate readings as to your body fat percentage, where your body fat lays more, your muscle tissue, bone density, your basal metabolic rate, which is super helpful, but it's not super essential. You can look at the mirror, weigh yourself, and be like, okay, I can cut fat or I can build muscle. Quite simple to know. Okay, after that, we want to go through some testing. So blood work is a non-negotiable. You have to do blood work. So there is a bunch of things you can test. As a starting point, this is already pretty advanced, and your doctor will more than likely not want you to do this if you live in Australia, or I think in the UK. I think because it's free, they're quite picky with it. So if you're serious about this, just pay for it privately. It will cost you a few $100s to test all of these. Now, I'm not going to go through them one by one or I'll be here forever, but I'm going to show you what is optimal, okay? So you can take a screenshot right here, and this is going to show you the optimal range and what the labs will show as not optimal, okay? I'll just give you a few examples here. So for me, my TSH growing up was always above 4, 5, or 6, okay? And doctors never address it. They never actually helped me become optimal. They just said, oh, if it gets above, 5, 6, 7, then we'll give you some medication for your thyroid, which is absolutely bullshit, okay? So I grew up suffering because doctors told me that this was normal, okay? Another thing that messed me up was my homocysteine, okay? Mine was 16 when I got it tested, and optimal is underneath 8, and that carries proper cardiovascular and cognitive risk, which I definitely was suffering. And once I addressed that through the right supplementation, I started feeling so much better. And the same with many of my clients. A lot of them come to me saying, yeah, these are my results. Doctor said everything's good. I'm like, no, that's not good. That's not good. That's not good. And it just drives me crazy, which I won't go on a side tangent too much now. But essentially, take a screenshot of what to test. That's what's optimal. You can message me on IG if you want me to help you interpret it. But let's get into the next one, which is a gut health test. Now, most people have not tested their gut. It is very important. I won't go into it for too long. Your gut is basically your second brain, right? 90% of your serotonin, which is a neurotransmitter that makes you feel happy and controls your mood, is produced in your gut. Okay, so just trust me on that. You can research about gut health. I'm going to have another video on my channel coming out about that. But if you really want to optimize your health, you need to do gut health. Every single one of my clients does a gut intelligence test. Okay, there's many different kinds of gut relating tests. There's SIBO breath test. There's DNA microbiome test. This will be a good starting point. Just go here, start off with Viome gut intelligence test. You can see the price right here, and you basically have to. It's not a very fun process to do this test, but the data you get is very, very helpful. This is a lot of the time the root cause of your brain fog, low energy, high stress, poor mood. Have you guys ever binge ate a certain food or like pizza, and then the days after you just felt moody and anxious, etc.? Very, very important you test your gut health. You can never truly feel healthy and good if your gut is not optimized. That is an absolute fact. Now, the next one is a DNA test. And the good thing about this is you only need to do it once in your life. And then depending which company you get it from, you can actually interpret that data and understand what type of exercise your body responds better to, your strengths in training, maybe certain nutrients you don't absorb and break down properly, right? Certain things are ruining your gut health, right? You're more prone to cardiovascular disease, or you're more prone to Alzheimer's, etc. There's a lot of data you can get out of that. And whatever company you go with will have their own way of sort of interpreting that data. Or you could use AI, if I'm being honest. So yeah, super helpful. They're not too expensive on Ancestry. I believe you can get them for like 100 USD without interpretation. So I guess you could use AI again. Now, after this is a Whoop band. Okay, we want something that can track our sleep stages, our VO2 max, heart rate variability, and resting heart rate. Okay, so this is an example of what it shows for your recovery. I've got it right here. It's actually charging right now. I've got my Whoop band right here. And this is what it shows for your sleep. And these are the pricing options. So most of my clients, I get them a peak. Okay, so that's the data that we want to be able to track. Now, in terms of a resting heart rate, anything healthy will be 65 or below. If it's below 50 to 40 to 35, you're probably an athlete and you're very fit. Okay, heart rate variability, you want that to be basically trending upward. So some people will have a heart rate variability of like 150, some people have heart rate variability of 80. The number itself doesn't matter as much as whether it's going up or down. Okay, so it's the variation in beats per minute. So your heart will beat, for example, 50 times per minute, but it doesn't mean the rhythm is the same. It's like boop, 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 boop. It could be like boop, 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 boop. And the more variation, the healthier. It means you're not just stuck in one stressed out state, okay? So you want your HRV to be improving, okay? So right here, this will show average HRV is 90. Today, this person got 94. So that's good. That's why that contributed to a green recovery, okay? The average resting heart rate is 47. Today, it's 44. So that contributed to a high recovery. How much you're breathing per minute, okay? It's a little bit lower. Sleep performance, okay? And then the other thing is within your sleep, which I don't think I have a photo of that specifically. But essentially, if you have less than 30 minutes of awake time, that's good. If you have 2 hours of REM sleep and 1.5 to 2 hours of deep sleep, that's optimal. And you want to be able to fall asleep between 15 minutes. That's what contributes to good sleep. Now, the last thing I test and get real data from is their food intake. So this is an app called Chronometer. It's similar to MyFitnessPal, which is a common app people use to track their calories and macros if they're gaining weight, cutting weight, whatever. But it also tracks nutrients. Okay, so I'm able to see the nutritional value in my client's typical diet over the past 3 days, and I'm able to see like what deficiencies they have and what foods we should, start eating off the bat to balance things out, because your nutrition and everything in your body is about homeostasis, having the right balance. So if someone's only been eating steak and eggs, believe it or not, I'm going to tell them to stop eating so much steak and eggs and eat some other things, have some vegetables, have some fruit. Depending what it is, I'll be able to make a meal plan from that. So that's what you need to do, okay? Track for 3 days and then take note of that. And then this information will come in handy in the next step, okay? Now, again, this is about ordering the testing, and then while you're waiting for that, you want to fix obvious gaps. So clean water, electrolytes in the morning, omega-3, magnesium, creatine, blue light blockers. Make sure you're nasal breathing. Get mouth tape from Amazon, okay? I'm also going to show you guys my Amazon list. Now this right here is my starter kit for clients. Now I don't get my clients every single item, but depending on the situation and our onboarding, I'll be able to know what might be useful to them. So I might get them a walking treadmill, I might get them a good quality water bottle, I might get them snake plants, okay? All of these serve a different purpose, and they're just little tools and gadgets that can actually make a good difference, you know? A common one is this, it's a clean way of having coffee, okay? Coffee drip machine, using organic beans and a coffee grinder. You know, if someone doesn't get morning light, then they can use this as a way to, you know, man-make blue light, basically artificial blue light to help set their circadian rhythm in the morning. Now there's many things on here. If you want the link to this, just drop me a message on IG and just say Amazon. And then if you have any questions, I'll just recommend you certain supplements depending on your situation. Okay. Now there's more things you can fix. Obviously, I don't know your situation. Maybe you're not getting morning light. Maybe you're just not drinking enough water. You need to just ask yourself, what are the obvious things I'm not doing? And what should I do right now that's going to have the biggest impact? Okay. What we did in this stage is while we're waiting for the data to come in, right? Because we're ordering the test, we're doing the test, we're waiting for it to come back to get, you know, interpreted, etc. We want to fix what's broken. Okay. Now again, to summarize, you want to assess your body weight, depending where you are here, decide if you need to bulk or cut. Okay. You want to do a blood test with these, and you know, I've already given you what the optimal ranges are right there. You want to order a gut Viome test, gut intelligence test from Viome. You want to do a DNA test from like Ancestry or DNA test, right? You want to order a Whoop band, track your food for 3 days using Chronometer. Now this should take you, honestly, like 1 day by the time you order everything and book the appointments. And then you want to quickly move on to, you know, fixing what's obvious and then checking out my Amazon list if you want, okay? So that is step 2. So hopefully I haven't lost you. Now we're going to move on to step 3, which is the second hardest stage. It gets a lot easier right up to this, okay? Which is building the system. Now, what we want to do is set up our calendar. I'm going to assume that you use Google Calendar, as 99% of people use it. And what you want to do is schedule sleep time, okay? I want you to put 8.5 hours into your Google Calendar. I want you to put time for your work, or just have no space for that if you're working normally. Times for your meals, which will be 4 times. I'm not going to debate on that. If you're a man and you're eating clean meals, you need to be eating at least 4 meals per day to even be in a maintenance, okay? Time to walk, which is usually after your meals, and then use reminders, okay? This is how you actually stick to it. This tip right here helps so much. You set up your calendar, then you forget it. You forget to eat, you forget to go to the gym, you forget everything. Put reminders before everything on your phone and on your Google Calendar. So for example, before a meeting, depending what kind of meeting, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, before you go to the gym, 1 hour, before you get to your desk, 10 minutes, before you eat, right? 40 minutes maybe if you need to order it and by the time it comes in, okay? Set up reminders for the key inputs, which are these inputs right here, okay? The next one is fix your sleep. I've got a whole sleep video going into detail on this, but in summary, I'm just gonna read them out to you and I'll explain why. 8.5 hours in bed, you wanna sleep at the same time, okay? Daily, so it's more important to wake up at the same time than to sleep at the same time because it's going to align your circadian rhythm better. Now, the biggest thing that's going to impact your health, your performance and everything, as we all know and would likely agree together, is your sleep. Now, I've got a full video going in depth on this, but in summary, this is what you need to do. 8 to 8.5 hours in bed because you're going to be losing 30 minutes falling asleep and another at least 30 minutes while you're asleep. So if you're in bed for 8, usually you're getting 6.5 to 7. Okay, so ideally 9, but we'll just say 8.5 because most people really struggle with that. Now, I want you to sleep and wake up at the same time every single day. This one's hard and it's weird, but it probably has one of the biggest impacts on your mood, energy, focus. And when you're consistently waking up at the same time, you unlock this crazy next level of mental clarity and cognition, and it's unbelievable, okay? And it honestly takes about 10 to 14 days to really unlock that, of doing it consistently, okay? Your wake up time is more important than your sleep time. Even if you get less sleep, you're gonna feel sharper waking up at that same time because you're getting that cortisol hit in the morning. So I don't wanna go too much into it, but yeah, there's a video there if you wanna watch it. When you go to sleep, you wanna be cold, you wanna be blind, and you wanna be deaf. You want to turn off the Wi-Fi to avoid the EMF, all right? You're going to definitely notice that, which is electromagnetic frequencies. You don't want to have overhead clutter. If you have big furniture over your head, subconsciously your brain doesn't feel safe and you can't actually relax, okay? Most people didn't know that. Finish your last meal 3 hours before bed to allow your body to digest the food properly and then actually switch over to resting and digesting. Optimally, it's probably 4 to 5 hours, but 3 is like the cutoff rule. No blue light 2 hours before bed to align your circadian rhythm. no stress an hour before bed to lower your cortisol. The whole point is we just want to really encourage the melatonin hit at night and the cortisol hit in the morning, okay? And all these things help you actually do that properly, okay? No screens before bed unless you're avoiding blue light and you're not doing it in your bed. And only use your bed for sleep and sex, okay? If you go into your bed and you're like watching TV and you're on your phone, you're probably getting shit sleep and you're finding it hard to fall asleep quickly, okay? Now, fix your breathing. This is a huge bottleneck for a lot of people, and I notice it with a lot of my clients. You need to be breathing through your nose, okay? If you're breathing through your mouth at night, you're not going to get good sleep. Your body isn't engineered to actually deliver and produce oxygen the right way when you're breathing through your mouth all the time. Not only that, you're going to grow like a bigger face, and it leads to more chronic disease in the long term. It's terrible. So set up your nutrition. 4 meals per day. You don't need to cook. High protein anchored, 30 to 40 grams per meal. It's only going to add up to like 140, 50 grams of protein, which is the bare minimum if I'm honest. Okay, and you're always going to need to have high protein, okay, most times of your life. Your breakfast needs to be high protein and fiber to keep you full for longer and not crash your blood sugars. Okay, I've got another video on my channel about a 3-minute smoothie. You can watch that later. You want to choose what works for you. Do you have a partner that can help? A family member? Can you source from a farm and cook yourself or get someone to cook it? That will be the most optimal right there. Now, restaurants or meal prep, you can just order it. A lot of you guys are too busy and you have money, so just order it from restaurants that are clean. Tell them to not cook it in seed oils. If you can get companies that tell you the macros, that's even better. All you need is one breakfast you really like that keeps your energy dialed in. For me, for example, it's that smoothie or that yogurt bowl. And then your 3 other meals is essentially some kind of protein, some kind of carbs, and a bit of fats. And that's going to usually lead to the right outcome, okay, without going into too much detail, okay? So high protein with any kind of carb, for example, salmon, beef, chicken, eggs, with sweet potato, rice, white potato, pasta, okay? And then a bit of fat on the side naturally. Maybe there's a bit of avocado, olive oil, some nuts, you know, like whatever it is. And when it comes to water, I can't really give you a recommendation because I don't know your situation. However, if your pee is very clear all the time, you're probably drinking too much water and you should have a little bit more electrolytes, okay? If your pee is very dark and yellow and you haven't been taking supplements that cause that, then you should drink more water, okay? And yeah, I would consider getting delivery options if you can't get a reverse osmosis filter, which is the cleanest way of having water, okay? I get spring water delivered to my house in Australia. Over here, I just get bottled water, to be honest. The next one is lift properly, okay? So I don't care who you are, you should be lifting heavy weights, young, old, whatever. It's important to build and maintain muscle, okay? There's a lot of correlation between having high muscle mass with energy levels, focus, longevity, absence of disease and conditions. Okay, so 2 to 3 days per week is all you need. You want to focus on compound lifts, getting stronger. You want to fall between 6 to 12 reps. 2 to 3 sets per exercise. Let's just say 5 exercises. So you could do this 3 days a week, full body. You could do 3 days a week, push-pull legs. Okay, it's not too deep as long as you're hitting each muscle group. You're getting stronger. You're tracking the numbers. Okay, so you're tracking your personal record with your recent lift, and you're just trying to improve a little bit of weight week by week or another rep. Okay, that's all that matters. And actually, what else matters is using correct techniques so you don't injure yourself and you're actually gaining progress on these lifts. Okay. So, just to summarize so far, we're setting up our calendar for times where we're training and eating and sleeping, etc. We're optimizing our sleep so you can watch that video. We're making sure we're not nose breathing, and if you are, see an ENT or a doctor to see if you should do surgery. Sometimes you just need to force yourself to breathe through it for a few weeks and then it starts working, right? Set up your nutrition, 4 meals per day. So we don't know exactly what we're eating yet. I'm letting you guys decide as long as it's high protein anchored. Okay, and it's coming with some kind of carbohydrates. We're not doing any keto shit. Okay, we need carbs to operate, high carbs. With water, as I can't recommend exactly how much, I'm telling you just to base it on the color of your pee. I'm telling you how to train, basically, different styles, how often, reps, sets, how to track it. You can just use Google Sheets or your phone notes. Other key habits that are going to help you a lot is walking 10K steps per day. This is easily done if you go on 2 walks every day that are like 30 minutes long, right? That's assuming that you're sitting down the entire day as well. So the best time really is after you eat, right? So let's say you work, you eat, and then it helps you digest the food as well. Okay, so you can use it as a bit of a break time, okay? The other one, hydration, as I already mentioned, but when you're not hydrated, your brain will not work. And once you hydrate, you feel alive again. So just make sure hydration is easy. Always have a water bottle with you or some kind of glass jar, glass water container or whatever. And then 5 minutes of morning sunlight. This is probably the most impactful thing you can do for your health and your performance. Okay, Andrew Huberman speaks about this a lot. That signal you give to your body, nearly every day, ideally, is going to help reinforce that cortisol peak, which gives your body nutrients and energy and makes you feel sharp. It's what allows you to feel sharp when you wake up in the morning. Maybe you don't feel that because you probably don't do this. So 5 minutes of morning light. Out of all habits for my clients, this one I make them do. You have to do it. Okay, it has such an impact and it's so easy and quick. Now, other things throughout your week, you want to regulate your nervous system. Okay, so this may or may not be something you incorporate into your calendar as we block time off for it, but you want to just start being more aware of it. Okay, if I were you, I'll just put some time in the calendar to remind you, like to regulate your nervous system. So walk in nature, or go to the park with my friend, go to the beach. Put these things in your schedule to regulate your nervous system. But a lot of things that will regulate your nervous system is this, eating enough of the right food, breathing properly, sleeping properly. These things do that, right? But you still will find yourself with a completely full stress bucket, and you need to just release it, and you need to manage your stress and regulate your nervous system. So you still have to actually do things, okay? Hang out with friends and family, do things you enjoy, spend time in nature, okay? I recently went to this water park, and it was like raining really like so much, and we're in this like outdoor spring, and it was like the most relaxing thing ever. Just being with good people, forgetting about business and work and everything, and just being in nature, chilling out, being present. It's like the most relaxing thing you can do, and it's a combination of all of those essentially. Track your metrics. So as we're going through this, if you got your Whoop band back and you're tracking your calories to make sure if you're bulking or cutting, you want to just start monitoring and then refer back to what I mentioned before is like the optimal ranges. So now you're going to start seeing your sleep, okay, light sleep, deep sleep. This is actually really good sleep, pretty much my typical night. This is when you train, it's going to track your zone 5, zone 4, just intensity levels, how much your heart is beating, recovery, calories you're tracking through MyFitnessPal. Okay, so you want to start tracking, okay? Put this in your calendar as well. Put it on your to-do list to check your Whoop at night and track your calories by the end of the day or before your last meal, so you know how much more you need to eat, or if you ate too much, to skip the next meal, okay? Giving you guys so much little sauce and gems here. Hope you guys remember it. So essentially, you're not adding more, you're just organizing what already matters, because this is already aligned to your identity. These are the things that you should be doing. You might be looking at it like, this is so much, this is so weird. It will become normal. And then once you start doing this, you're going to be like, damn, I was operating like a burnt out entrepreneur. Like that was fucking weird. How was I doing that? Okay. Now, this is when things become a lot easier. Okay. Those previous 2 steps was a lot more complex and maybe more difficult. But now, once we get data back from our DNA test, from our blood tests and everything, now we're going to make adjustments according to the data. Just like in business, you look at your KPIs and you make adjustments. We're doing the same thing. Adjust our food, cut out inflammatory foods, fix nutritional deficiencies, take the right supplements, cut out certain supplements, okay? Adjust your lifestyle habits, spend more time in nature, regulate your stress. All of these things need to be interpreted by someone, whether it's me or like some doctor or whatever, not a typical GP, but like a gut health specialist or a hormone specialist. So an example of this is when our gut health Viome test comes back, then we have a clear idea as to what foods is causing issues, what specific ingredients, and what foods we should have more of. Okay, that's going to balance the gut microbiome, heal it, etc. Certain supplements like L-glutamine, maybe we'll take digestive enzymes, whatever. There's so many things you can do with your health. Okay, it just depends what your data is. Okay, now, for example, things you can improve on when it comes to most of your blood tests: testosterone, thyroid, vitamin D, B12. Some of these you can supplement for. A lot of them, maybe it's just an entire system change, because if your testosterone is low, it's not like you can take a supplement to improve your testosterone. It comes down to many things: stress management, sleep quality, lifting heavy weights, right? Many things. So yeah, I don't want to be on this for too long because it will just drag on. But yeah, basically you need to make adjustments. So adjust your calories, tweak your training. Maybe you're training too much, train a bit less, okay? Your stress is too high, you're under eating. You don't need to train as much, okay? I'm speaking to my old self right here, and sometimes I fall into that trap. Take certain supplements, double down on recovery, double down on eating more food, change your training, incorporate more cardio, whatever the data says, okay? I don't know Now it's going to be personalized to you. I'm just giving you some examples, okay? So some of my clients, for example, I tell them, okay, you've been massively under eating, you've been training way too much. We're going to cut back your training, focus on quality. We're going to really track your calories and make sure you are eating enough. And I want you weighing yourself every second day the same way so we can see if your weight is progressing, right? And then also I want you to cut out vitamin D because your vitamin D levels are already too high. You've been taking 10K IU for months and years, okay? And yeah, so there's many things we can change. So step 5 is maintain and refine. So by this point, okay, just to recap, you would have basically, you've started reinforcing your identity. While you're doing that, you've ordered the testing, you've fixed obvious gaps. Maybe you've ordered some water, some supplements like creatine, magnesium glycinate, fish oil, whatever. And then you've built the system, you've blocked it out on your calendar, you've got this whole thing, you've got alarms going off telling you when to do what. You're tracking your way to go into the gym 3 days a week, you're eating 4 times a day, you've got good water, you're doing all those things in the system, and you've got reminders and everything. Then you got your data back, and then you've adjusted certain things. Okay, the system is still built, but you're just adjusting the inputs a little bit. Now, you just want to figure out why you were not following it if you weren't, which you probably won't be perfect in the beginning. You want to figure out what's getting in the way, and this is so key, okay? Because you can build a system, you can get the plan, you can get the data, but if you don't follow it, then it's useless. So now the objective is to figure out why you didn't follow it. Why did you skip that meal? Why did you sleep late? Why did you wake up too late? Why did you do this? Why did you prioritize work over that? And you need to figure out the problem. Is it identity? Is it just time management? Is it priorities? Which a lot of these ties back to your identity, okay? So to fix it, tactical things you can do. Move meetings, okay? Set certain times where people cannot book meetings. Simplify your meals, automate things, change the timing of things, reduce friction, pre-pack your gym bag the night before, update reminders. These things help you keep the system intact. It's just reminders. And it's just automating it and making it easier, right? And a lot of the time it might just come down to priority. I've got some people who come work with me and they just simply cannot prioritize it. And they just obsess over their business and they're just destroying their health, completely destroying their health. So you have to have some level of boundaries and prioritization, okay? But health, really, I know it seems like a lot, it's really not that big of a deal. You sleep 8 hours, you eat 4 times a day, you exercise, you walk, you drink clean water, you take certain supplements. Isn't that like a normal thing? Shouldn't that be the normal standard? Outside of that, sure, work as much as you want, okay? And then you want to just keep tracking these 3 things going forward. You don't need to overcomplicate it. Track your sleep and recovery with your Whoop. So this is like the overall, but you've got your sleep and your recovery here, as I already showed you. And then just your overall energy and focus. Subjectively, how is your energy? How is your focus? Okay? And then you can look back and be like, I wonder why. Maybe it's because I didn't eat that meal and I ate that, or maybe I was dehydrated. And you start having a system long term and you understand how your body works, okay? Which is amazing. So by this point, in this stage, you're not fixing your health anymore. You're just fixing the execution of the system. And this is the key thing that helps my clients stick to it long term, okay? We figure out what's getting in the way and I help them with the tedious things. Okay, maybe we move your meetings to this time. We have your meal before here. Or, you want to have dinner with your girlfriend. Okay, cool. We'll have that meal here and then you can prioritize dinner with your girlfriend, right? Random little things like that. There's life inconveniences that get in the way, okay? Now, step 6 is optimizing the 1%. So these things matter. However, they don't matter as much as you think, and they're not really a priority. The foundation of your health is more important than microplastics, water filters, kitchenware, soaps, environments. If you can get someone to do all of that for you on day one, great, but it's just too much mental bandwidth to deal with all this kind of stuff, including sauna, ice bath, all these random things you hear about. Everything else outside of these steps, don't worry about, okay? Do all of this first, and then you can start looking at other things. These are flashy, these are cool, these are very interesting. Oh, I can get a wooden cutting board. Cool, but it's just distracting you when you already have so much more to focus on. You need to build a system first. Okay, so once you have the system maintained, then you can look at all these other things. So yeah, in summary, these matter, but only after the basics are done. Okay, now this right here is a travel bonus. Just when you thought things couldn't get better in this video, I'm going to give you a bonus travel section. So when you travel, this is how you can stay on track without it fucking you up. And when you get that crash on like day 2, day 3, it's because you didn't travel properly and you were under eating, your circadian rhythms out of whack, didn't hydrate, etc. So what you want to do is choose flights that land early local time. You're going to have a much easier time flying west than flying east, because when you fly west, your day becomes longer, and then all you have to do is feel a little bit more tired and fall asleep later. Whereas if you fly east, you're gonna have to fall asleep when you don't feel sleepy. Okay, so you want to try and fly east in the morning and west in the evening. It's gonna help align your circadian rhythm, which is one of the most important things when you travel. That's gonna affect your performance. Okay, so hydrate well. Have a good amount of electrolytes, so salt mostly, 24 to 48 hours before you travel. So just have more salty foods, or just have electrolytes before you travel. Have a bunch of water, because it's easy to get dehydrated when you travel. Get sunlight and try and exercise before you travel. Okay, it's going to just help with energy levels, focus, circadian rhythm. Avoid junk food and alcohol on the plane if you can. I know it's really boring, but whatever, do what you want. You already know why. During travel, try and avoid airplane food. If you pick anything, make sure it's high protein and whole foods, something as little processed as possible. I want you to move every 60 to 90 minutes, so stretch, walk, shadow box in the bathroom, whatever it is. Stay hydrated, keep annoying them, ask them for more water. Use blue light blockers if you need, depending the time that you're traveling right there, and when you actually want to be falling asleep. Okay. After you land, it's super important to get sunlight ASAP. Even if it's not super early in the morning, it's going to help set your circadian rhythm, because your body's going to fall asleep when the sun goes down and be more alert when the sun goes up of that new environment. It's not going to be perfect. It's going to take, honestly, a whole few days to a week till it starts, really adapting. But as soon as you land, if you go to your hotel, the best thing you can do, go out for a walk, sit in the sun, maybe go for a run. That would be the most optimal. You want to train and move just to get your blood flowing. Traveling is not healthy, so you want to try and kickstart your immune system, get some sunlight, grab a healthy meal, hydrate properly. Okay. One more thing I didn't mention here is certain supplements you should take, which would be magnesium glycinate, zinc, vitamin C, and a few others, but those will be critical. Like, you're not going to be packing every supplement in the world with you. These help you not get sick. A lot of people get sick when they travel, so it's just good immune system support. Now for sleep, always bring your magnesium with you, mouth tape, blue light blockers, wherever you travel. It's very easy to pack, and it's going to help you a lot with your sleep. So stick to the basics. Whenever you travel somewhere, I understand there's a lot of things to do. You're excited. You're not going to be too concerned about, staying super optimal. Stick to the basics: sleep, food, movement. If you can walk 10K steps, eat 4 meals a day that are high in protein, and be in bed for 8.5 hours, we're chilling. Okay, you don't need to stress too much. Now, if you had someone like me who was a coach, I could actually help you look at the area you're staying, give you gym recommendations, meal prep companies, reminders what to do when you land, etc. That's something I've been helping a lot of my clients with lately who are traveling. Melatonin can help you set your circadian rhythm. It's a supplement you take. It increases melatonin, so you're biohacking your circadian rhythm essentially. You're going to feel groggy the morning after, and I wouldn't abuse this more than 7 days in a row. Okay. You can also use ChatGPT to help you find clean restaurants, good gyms, food quality nearby, etc. But yeah, we don't want to aim to be perfect. Just be consistent with the fundamental basics. Now, this is my system. This is what I've been doing for the past few years, working with 6 and 7 figure entrepreneurs. You can see a bunch of tangible data here, from resting heart rate, sleep quality, recovery, 6 months of my one. I think I've got Julian's one here. But yeah, I've got plenty of client wins. You can check out my Instagram highlights. You can check my testimonials on my YouTube. But this system works, and it works for these kind of people. So if you're an entrepreneur and you feel like your health is slipping and you want to perform properly, and you want a system that isn't like what doctors will advise you, or fitness coaches, because they don't work, and you want a system that actually restores and optimizes your health using science-backed systems, real data, and as I just showed you, you just want me to implement all of this for you, so you don't have to think about what tests to get, when. You want me to basically buy all the testing, order all the products, ship it to your door, organize everything on your behalf, hold you accountable, build a personalized plan, look at the data, so you can just basically do the test, eat the food, go to the gym, sleep, and I pretty much do the rest, and I give you weekly and daily feedback. Then yeah, that's pretty much what I do. I've given you pretty much the whole system. So essentially, if you want me to do this whole thing for you, you can book a call with me below in the description, or message me the word health on Instagram. We can chat a little bit back and forth. But yeah, that's basically it. I hope you guys got a ton of value from this. I know it's a little bit difficult. There was a lot of things in this, and obviously I didn't cover every single angle of health and go into detail, but I've given you the system, okay? So if you essentially just do that, and if you're the person who's brain foggy, bloated, and your health is slipping, you've gained some fat, you will get amazing results if you can build this and stick to it. So yeah, I'll see you guys later.